Hey y'all, we just want to get you a look at the meat chickens, Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens, and these are on day 5. So they were hatched June 12th, 2024. The plan is to get them to a processor around July 22nd, 2024. So we have pretty good sized pen of them here, kind of giving you an overlook of the whole brooder space. So the number of chicks in this group is 434. This is the third flock of 2024 for us here at Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. We really have a passion for raising these Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens and producing homegrown top quality poultry. This is our third flock of this calendar year. Our first 2 flocks were just about 100 birds each. I think we had ended up with 116 in flock 1 and 122 in flock 2 that we took to the processor. So it was ordered as 425, and we got 434 in from the hatchery, Mount Healthy Hatchery. So they've grown a lot. When they're day old, they really are the size of a chicken egg. They're just so small, And now, like just the main part of their body looks a little bit bigger than the size of a chicken egg. So we see a lot of growth. We're also seeing, gonna try to pick out a different bird. You can see it there, what I'm gonna mention. We're seeing a lot of change on the wingtips. They're starting to feather. They're starting, you can see there. So the chick is still fluffy down all over the head and all over the body, but at the tip of the wing, we're seeing the white feathering come in, okay? So that's where they feather first. And I'm not real good at it. I haven't developed a skill set. You actually can tell by the wingtips, by that feathering coming in, if you're looking at a male or a female chick. But I've practiced it, and when I refresh my memory on it and practice it, I can do that pretty reliably. But it's been a while since I did that, so I'm not going to venture a guess on that. But we get our birds straight run from the hatchery. So this is a mixed group of guys and gals. We've got everybody here. So, but see, like you can see a difference. Even see this birdie here laying down. I'll try to zoom in just a bit more. I don't know how much my camera will go, but see the birdie laying down. Oh, I got to find the birdie laying down. There we go. See how the wingtip at the bottom really extends way out, okay? And then, like on the other hand, we can find a bird that doesn't have that. And that's a pattern that is pretty reliable, that can indicate, is that a girl bird or a guy bird? So, like I said though, I'd be guessing, because I haven't refreshed my memory on that recently. But anyway, but we are seeing, as you look down through, and once your eye kind of looks for that, you can definitely see where we're getting the feathering on the wingtips. So that's where they feather first. And then, gradually we'll get feathering replacing the downy fur. So this is the cute stage. Cornish Rock Cross meat chicks don't stay super cute for very long. But you're seeing a lot of them at rest now. I've been up and in the brooder here and walked through the brooder a couple times, a couple loops through the brooder. So they had a period of activity. And then that's what the routine is. When they have a period of activity, they'll go eat, they'll go drink, and then they'll manure somewhere while they're up, and then they rest again. And we're okay with that, because growth happens during resting and sleeping, and these birds have got a long way to grow and a relatively short time to get there. We're going hatch to harvest in 5 weeks or so, about 35 days, but they'll be ready. That'll probably give us an end product of about a 4 pound, maybe 4 to 4.5 pound finished whole chicken after the live chicken is butchered and processed. If we were going to have everybody processed into whole chickens, we'd be looking at probably 4 to 4.5 pound chickens. But we'll have a lot of these processed into boneless, skinless chicken breast and into custom pieces like the drumsticks, the thighs, maybe even boneless, skinless thighs, and ground chicken patties and ground chicken in 1 pound packages. So those are a lot of our customer favorites. But some of the just statistics on them. So day 5, they've grown a lot. We've got about 12-gallon water capacity in here, filling those a couple times a day. We've got at least 12 of those baby tray feeders. It took the flock of 434 about 4 days to eat the first 50 pounds of food. So there's a busy one here. So that will compound then as production goes on. So now we're in our second 50-pound bag of feed, and I'm sure they'll consume it within 3 days instead of it lasting them 4 days. They might even consume it within 2 days. They'll get to a point where they're easily consuming 50 pounds of feed a day. And this group will probably get to a point where they're consuming 2 bags of feed a day, up to 100 pounds of feed a day. So overall, for the duration of raising this flock for about 35 days, we expect them to consume 80 50-pound bags. So 4,000 pounds of feed. That seems like a lot in 35 days for a bunch of little chickens, but there are 434 of them. So our appointment at the processor is for 400, but we hope as many of these will make it throughout the duration of production as possible. So the processor will be willing to include whatever overage we have in the flock over the 400, and they'll go ahead and process them for us. And then at the processor, they kind of charge you by the bird to slaughter and process into whole chickens. That's kind of the base price or base service that they charge for. And then when we build in the extras, like say, we want some of them done into boneless, skinless chicken breast, or we want patties made, ground chicken and patties made, then there's additional fees and a price structure for those things. But those are things that our clients request, so those are things that we'll build into our processing order when we take the birds to a USDA inspected processor. And it's kind of interesting to note, I said our first flocks of the year, we had like 116 and 122 each in those first flocks. Both of those flocks were entirely sold on pre-orders. So we knew when we started those flocks that all those birds would be made into specific requests, and we knew that all of that meat was sold. So we have flexible policies with our customers, but we also, I think, have some of the best clients in the world, because they come through on their orders and work with us on getting their orders picked up promptly, and we're really, really appreciative to our customers, because without being able to sell the meat that we produce from these birds, we couldn't continue to try to raise flocks of this quantity. So anyway, but this flock, I would say, is about 30% reserved at this point, and we're going to continue to work on communicating with people and promoting the homegrown top quality poultry that's produced from it, and hopefully we'll have this entire flock pre-reserved, so more or less sold out on pre-orders before it goes to the processor. That is the goal of the operation, but they are doing well. So you can see they basically are all in a resting phase right now, and that is very common with your flocks. They kind of have a circadian rhythm where they'll have a period of activity, and they'll be busy. Basically all the birds in the flock at one time, they'll be wanting to eat, wanting to get a drink of water. They'll take care of manuring, and then they'll rest almost as a whole flock. So probably like in another hour and a half or 2 hours, I'll walk another couple loops through here to get the birds to get up and move around and walk around, and they'll take care of eating again. But like I said, we like to see them resting because we know that they're utilizing the food that they've eaten toward growth. Then we're trying to get back here to see this one. So and we like to see them hitting, you know, like the target feed consumption that we expect, because then we know that they're getting enough energy to support the growth that we want to see in them. So we do have all the heat lamps turned off. We're gonna have about 90 degrees Fahrenheit today, and that's still a comfortable ambient temperature range for these chickens. Definitely when they're hatchlings, that 90 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperature range is where we want to see things. But with these birds now, like we're approaching a week old with them, they'd be content with probably about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. This one's so cute. So anyway, but we kind of keep an eye on what the ambient temperature is outside, and it feels about the same in our building, and we keep an eye on their behavior if they look comfortable, and then we adjust accordingly if we feel like they need a warmer environment or a cooler environment. So you can kind of see, for the most part, the birds are spread out throughout their brooder space pretty well, so we know that they're probably pretty comfortable. So we're going to leave the heat lamps off and leave the big doors open that we have open, and they're good to go. But right now, floor space wise, 434 chicks around a week old. They are in floor space of about 25 foot by 12 foot approximately. As they grow, they're going to fill this space, and we are going to be able to easily expand their space by simply removing these yellow plastic crates. Those are live poultry transport crates. We'd be able to simply remove them and let the birds expand into the rest of that floor space. So by the end of production, they'll have about 25 foot by 30 foot, and they will fill the space. They'll fill the space for sure. And we'll, when we let them have that floor space, we'll distribute the feeders and waters differently, so they have feeders and waters everywhere throughout the floor space to get to. So join us again at Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. That's kind of the lowdown on these birds at about day 5, and we'll show you some footage and videos from the first 5 days, and then we'll keep following along with them here on our YouTube channel.